Good evening. I call to order the Planning Commission regular session, September 4th, 2016. Dave Charles, roll call please.
Grossman present.
McCoy present.
Strew present.
Salvo present.
Costic present.
We have a quorum. Before we get in this, I want to welcome Paul Grossman as our officially wasn't here last month. He's the town council representative for the Planning Commission. Diane's not here because of surgery today. And I also would like to congratulate our planner, now so with that, I'd like everybody to rise. We'll have a moment of silence and the pledge of allegiance. Join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make it seated. We do have public comments, correct?
Yes, Bruce Ginger.
Would you like to, you have,
Sounds too formal. The accessory buildings I've talked.
okay, please state your name and your address, please.
Bruce Ginger, Fort Tazewell. The accessory buildings concern, I appreciate the movement on that project. I'm concerned about the stated goals and the water utilities fees related to that. I'm not sure, I've read the materials, but I don't remember seeing the economic justification for creating new accounts on the water utility bill, although it's good, I appreciate that we're not charging connection fees. Okay, so that's a good one. In my case, I would be building a garage with an upstairs, either an office space or a call them apartment. What do you call it? Efficiency apartments. And it would be for both, in both cases, personal use. And the economics of it to double down on the utilities doesn't make economic sense. Okay, could I afford it? Yeah, but still, it doesn't. Even if I was going to rent it, for example, that's an automatic $100 I've got to cover every month for 12 months, by the way. For the short-term, low-income housing is a stated purpose for doing this. Economically, $1,200 as opposed to maybe $200 to $300 a month rent for maybe 3-4 months. If you do really well, maybe $400 a month. But once again, for 3-4 months max, the economics don't work out particularly well on that from an investment standpoint. From my personal standpoint, it's just what I said. We do use the waters that our bills do frequently go above the minimum, okay? But if I move my son out to the outside building, that hasn't changed our water usage. I would think, I understand the objectives, but the full rate, I think, is excessive. Okay, maybe the town council is more interested in that than the planning commission here. And I'm just stating my concern to the economics of the cash flow and the stated purposes involved. Okay, and from a personal standpoint, geez, and it's just an extra $100 for what? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No other public comments? Okay, Consent agenda, do I have an approval of the agenda format?
So moved.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? I have an approval of the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Need a second?
I second it.
Okay, any discussion, any corrections?
Good.
All right,
I'll abstain from.
okay, well, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have one abstention. Reports.
Mr. Chairman, there's nothing to add, but I would like to bring your attention to two items, both of which have the attachments. The first one is item number 7, the watershed implementation plan, phase 3. It is an ongoing project of the Accomack Planning District Commission. You can see the attachment that was handed out at the meeting that was on the 23rd of August at the Virginia Tech Planning Center in Painter, and it just lays out what some of the larger objectives are of the program, as well as some actions. None of this is by way of binding on any of the communities that participate, but these are recommended actions that will be developed over time to make the phase 3 watershed implementation plan more effective. I will be attending those meetings until directed otherwise not to, in which case the next planner will take over. But I'm happy to, more than happy to attend the town's behalf and to forward along as much information as necessary. I'm sure when we get to the time next spring of the comprehensive plan update, since this is a project of the Planning District Commission staff will bring it along to the Planning Commission to be considered and included in various capacities in the town comprehensive plan.
Thank you.
And then likewise for number 8, which is the Eastern Shore Healthiest Communities Livable Communities Subcommittee has started up again. I'm on that committee as well. Shannon Alexander is the PUC's rep, and Louis from Northampton County Planning Department is the chair. There's also Town Manager Anancock is on that committee, and a councilwoman from Parksley. You can see, and those of you who've been around long enough remember what was lovingly referred to as the walkability study from August 2012.
Yeah.
This is the effort to update that. And obviously it's in the early phases. This was only our second meeting. We're actually starting to take a shot at the livability communities update plan. So there's going to be a learning curve with our group as well. Most of the people in that group had not seen the 2012 plan. At least 4 of you were here when that was in progress, if I'm not mistaken.
Keith wasn't.
Keith wasn't, Diane wasn't, Paul wasn't. Were you?
I was.
You were, okay.
And Sandra was.
Okay, so some of you know what we're talking about, others of you haven't even read it or seen it yet.
Should be on the website.
It is. It's actually called Healthy Communities, Healthy People, Healthy Communities. Our parlance is it's the walkability study. So maybe we need to actually start naming it what is calling listening. But that's in the process of being updated. Again, I will keep you apprised of what goes on there. Our next meeting is on the 20th of September at 2 o'clock. We have been meeting, the last 4 meetings have been at the Eastern Shore Chamber of Commerce building, but on the 20th of September we're meeting at the community college. These are public meetings, so folks are welcome. And if there's anything by way of input that you'd like to see, obviously I'm the conduit for that right now. Otherwise, Shannon Alexander, I'm sure will be happy to talk to anybody about it as well. And when the time comes, perhaps a little bit later into the winter, it might be good to have Shannon come and update the Planning Commission as to what it is activities that's going on. I suspect this will be an ongoing project for a prolonged period of time. time.
Good.
But it is an update after 6 years.
Good. 920, you said.
9:20 at 2 o'clock.
Right.
One thing to note, take a look at the partners column.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, but the upside is all the towns are on the hook.
Yeah, I understand. Some are more progressive than others, in this regard.
It'll be nice to see the towns in both counties pulling in the same direction.
Yep.
That will be an encouraging thing to see. Otherwise, I have nothing else to add. I'm happy to entertain any questions if there are any.
Any questions, discussion on any of the reports? All right, moving right along, unfinished business. Proposed text amendments to town zoning ordinance, Article 8, Sections 8.33, 8.34, and 8.35, review of set November 6th, 2018 public hearing date.
Mr. Chairman, this came out of the town council's consideration of the Article 8 text amendment, which was adopted at their meeting earlier this month. I'm sorry, in August.
August 16th.
Yeah. It's not August 26th. So that was the August meeting. And one of the things that was brought up, now it was adopted as submitted and as the joint public hearing was held on the text, but these sections that speak specifically to the appeals, one of the council members proposed that the words "and suffering cognizable harm" is not consistent, nor is it clearly understood. But what is clearly understood is the language that appeared in the 1933 Nichols versus Lawrence case, which established appeal standing for public bodies in the Commonwealth of Virginia, which reads, and that's the bold text, which is proposed as the text amendment, must show that he has, the appellant, must show that he has an immediate, pecuniary, and substantial interest in the litigation and not a remote or indirect interest. So that's the correct language from the court case that established standing. And Councilwoman Burge recommended that that be the language that we work into our ordinance as a text amendment to the language that's just been approved last month. So staff's recommendation is that's a reasonable recommendation for text amendment, and recommends approving the proposed text and setting the November 6th date as the public hearing date.
Pretty straightforward. Any discussion?
No, just-
Ms. Burge is a lawyer, and if anybody remembers, she is the Accomack County lawyer, so,
You know,
just for those that might not be aware. Thank you.
there is the idea of precedence here that kind of suggests not making changes, but if it's, part of it was to make it a little more understandable, taking out the cognizable word, but so I was thinking, rather than pecuniary, financial, I don't know if that plays it, but I'm just thinking, maybe just stay with this wording, pecuniary, and don't worry about it. You know, most people, I think, understand what that means. That was my only kind of thought.
Anybody else? Any other discussion? So if nobody objects to the action, hearing no objection, this proposed text amendment to town zoning ordinance, Article 8, Section 8.33, 8.34, and 8.35 will be taken by unanimous consent. Next, appointment to the Harbor Area Review Board. So I just happened to be on my town email and saw that Diane D'Amico, I sent an email. She can't be here, she was in surgery today, but she has volunteered to be on the Harbor Area Review Board, even though her email said the Historic District Review Board. We got a clarification from Tracy, and she did meet the Harbor Review Board, so she had volunteered to be the second representative from the Planning Commission on that.
Who's the first? Who's on the account? You are.
Historic, I think, Keith.
I'm the star.
Keith is on the Harbor.
I'm on the Harvard guy, okay?
So there'll be three members of the planning commission actually on the Harbor Area Review Board, but only two in their capacities on the planning commission.
So, is there any discussion that there's nothing that needs to be done on that? We have somebody, unless somebody else wants to be on the Harbor Review Board.
Well, I'd say just before I heard this announcement, I was going to express a willingness because nobody else
Would step up.
was stepping up.
I almost volunteered you since you weren't here.
I know, I sensed that.
In abstention.
So it's just kind of a follow on that. So, but, you know, happy to help out, and if she's happy to do that, fine. If she can't make a meeting or needs a backup, you know.
Well, if you also read anybody that has been a member of that, can also, kind of has like, you know, can be a good comment too, so. All right, so we have that. I guess if there's nothing that needs to be done on that, we don't have to vote on that or anything. I don't
You guys
think.
up to council.
Right? Any other unfinished business? All right, new business. Preliminary timetable for review of comprehensive plan prior to April 2019.
Chairman, there's no staff report for this because this is properly fed at this point, 6 months out, as an open discussion and thinking out loud sort of approach. The Planning District Commission is contracted to begin the formal phase of their assistance with the town comprehensive plan update next April. There's ample time to prepare for that. So if there's anything, and we are going to have a personnel change, ideally before this year ends. So if there's anything that the commissioners are interested in getting started on, excluding setting timetables, now's a good time. At least staff thought this was a good time to begin that sort of thinking out loud, be a good discussion. What questions, what documents, what info, just by way of prep to maximize the time that we can with the Planning District Commission in April, May, and June. Keeping in mind the lion's share of the work is going to be done in the fiscal year 2020. And that's also when the lion's share of the expenditure is going to be as well.
For those that were not privy to the last review of the comprehensive plan and what we went through, it would be nice for us as commissioners to have, from when basically that cutoff was after the town council reviewed it, all the changes that have taken place that would affect the comprehensive plan. So we need to have that because we don't really need to go through the same, you know, well, because it took us what, 18 months to do that? Isn't that about right?
Yeah, at least.
And so as we were going along, things changed. And so, you know, it's like another rewrite, or, you know, add this, you know, why isn't that in there? And I think we used to get a copy of the capital improvement program. So we need to have access to that too. So we know where the town council's going. And I know that town council is doing, is looking, I think they're gonna do a strategic.
Yeah, that's coming up.
A strategic planning session. So we would need to have access to that to see where town council is looking forward in the next several years. So this is done every 5 years, so that would be great.
Great.
I
I'd like to read it also.
Yeah, I wanted to re-echo that sentiment, because it's a living document, and so, you know, and early on in the period, things get done, and so the council says, well, why do we need this document? It's already been done. Well, that's the thing we want to avoid happening next time, but in general, I was very proud of the way the document reflected the combined thinking of the people up here, and it wasn't just a contractor taking the old one and dotting that across, making a few cosmetic changes, but it was really our best effort to think ahead for the next 5 years. So, you know, this is the time to start making some big thinking that we're going to pare down, because there are some big issues we have to face as we grow that to wrestle with and all, but, you know, there's the ability to articulate that appears to have existed by the previous board, if not the present one, and so, you know, what we turned over to the contractor was really our, you know, it was all there except making it really, you know, presentable.
I would also invite all the commissioners to review the state ordinance on the comp plan. I know we have to address transportation, and VDOT has to be involved. We have to address affordable housing, and we have to address
Chesapeake Bay.
Chesapeake Bay. Yeah. So those three.
What was the second one?
Affordable housing.
I got that.
What was being?
Transportation.
Transportation.
Affordable housing, and Chesapeake Bay.
Transportation in the sake of public transportation?
All transportation. I mean, walkability, bus, you know, bus lines, roads. I mean, if you take a look on there, we did that, and the AMPDC did a great job on that. I mean, Elaine Neal was very good at couching us through that and whatnot. So, and I'm sure we'll have something similar. It won't be her, but somebody from there will help us on that. But it's in there. So,
Pardon my ignorance, but this document is somewhere to be read.
yes,
Absolutely, yeah, right.
it's on.
This is like the fourth or fifth generation.
Our comprehensive plan? Correct. Yeah, it's on the website, the latest one, which is 2016. I mean, I think even the first one from 2009 is on. Is that still online?
Yeah.
It's very. I mean, and even the backup data, which is, I mean, there is so much backup data in there.
Yeah, there is.
That is, it's useful information, but I mean, but this is supposed to be, you know, something that you can read and not a voluminous thing. But I mean, the people that worked on that first one did a ton of work. But the demographics are going to, you know, we'll be able to have the demographics in there, where we stand. Like, I'd be surprised. I know that our population has had to increase here, some in the last year and a half.
Yep.
Anyway.
Just on the transportation idea, it's my understanding that shipping, boating does involve VDOT unless there's going to be a bridge involved, then VDOT would get involved. That's what I was told about that.
We had shipping in there. We talked about that.
I mean, we put it in there, just, we have to make sure we got the VDOT lines
Did
addressed.
we put it in?
Yeah, I think we did.
I
I
think
think we had it in there,
Oh,
yes. Because there was discussion about small, not barges, small container ships using the harbor with the road, with the access of the new road. The area down there that we approved that stuff to be transported. So it's,
Is that still moving forward?
Yeah, and it's, erosion sediment control permit was approved, so that doing the site prep, as well as around the Beckman Stone and all that on the south side. That's the working waterfront side. In fact, we're not mistaken, there's a section in the current comp plan on working waterfront. If I'm not mistaken, there was another update to the statewide working water plan, working waterfront plan in maybe 2015 or 2016. So our current comp plan may not reflect that, but the PDC will know that better than I do.
so, and then there's not but maybe 2 pages in the Virginia ordinance on the comp plan. It's pretty straightforward, so.
I guess the question I would have is, what's the relationship, it encompasses the Harbor District. Harbor District comp plan hadn't been updated since 2006. Do we need to get that document also updated to some degree as a feeder to the overall comp plan?
Well, I don't know. Wasn't there something about updating that as far in the budget or something? And
I mean, if I may, the two that probably merit updating is the Harbor District, not the design guidelines. I think when the Planning Commission looked at that maybe a year and a half ago, the design guidelines were the design guidelines was the conceptual plan was a lagging indicator. That one and the preservation plan, the 1996 preservation plan has been taken out of circulation. That's not really a relevant document to inform 5-year planning anymore. So right now the town really doesn't have a preservation plan anymore. The old comprehensive plans used to do a really good job. The 99 plan and maybe the 2004-2005 plan did a really good job with the preservation. And then the 2009 plan and the 2016 plan did less, a bit less directly. Now, that could just be a normal development in the town, or it could have been an oversight, or it could have been a default to a document that already existed that hadn't actually been taken down off the shelf and posted for about 10 years. So I mean, there's a lot of things about it, but that one sticks out. The Harbor
Just
District.
because the comp plan does point to it.
Yeah, still.
In a number of cases, it said for further detail, go see.
Right.
It's been sitting there for 12 years or so.
but I don't know what that other one cost, but I know it was pretty expensive. So that's a thing. I mean, I know it's on the plate, so we can make. We've got time here, so it wouldn't hurt to take a look at that. I mean, it's a great document, but it's outdated now. I mean, it's just based on what's happened in the harbor, so.
That's the Harbor District.
I mean, but for example, I mean,
Well, no, a comp plan. It's a separate comp plan.
but we're kept in the dark. I mean, as commissioners, we don't know what's going on unless we read the agenda from the town council or attend the town council, for example, for railroad property. Where do we stand on that? I mean, for example, because that's a big hunk of land there, and so.
It may not be the full intent, but my impression of what the Harbor District is now is very much of a reaction body. Anytime, the only time they get together is when there's some kind of application, because they haven't met since last December, and last year they didn't meet. They met in May and December, that was it. So basically, they don't meet, and so that doesn't sound like a body that works to create. Maybe it needs to be re-energized in order to do that. But right now, it just looks like they get together for a meeting as needed by an application. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is that all they're required to do?
That's specifically in the ordinance. It's all boards are advisory by nature, so it's certainly within the purview of the HARB to begin a study and commentary on the plan and advisory capacity, send it up to council after that. Or send it here, I mean, either one. And then here, send it to the council.
So if it was sent here, would we discuss it, then it would go to the HARB and then to town council?
No, it would go from HARB to here, ultimately it would go to council.
Right.
So it would go from HARB either directly to council or go to HARB here. The upside is, there's a reason, I suppose, that two members of the planning commission are on the HARB, and it can certainly express the consent of, the consensus of the planning commission, whether the planning commission wants to see in total, or whether the planning commissioners are happy with the representatives to the Harbor Area Review Board, and then from there send it to them.
So then it should be reviewed and put with the new comp plan that we're now discussing.
Yeah, that's my feeling. It's been sitting out there, and it's easy for us to default here and say, oh, go see that for the details. The fact that it's so out of date, we need to get some energy behind
Yeah.
that group.
So, we have our two representatives, so maybe they could talk to the HARB.
So should we
Who's
not?
the chair, who's the chairman? Ralph. Ralph Orso, right? And ask him to,
Why can't we send something to them and request it? I mean,
we,
us
as a commission, as a planning commission. Well, we don't, do we, I don't think we have, do we have, we don't have the authority, we don't have the
Or
authority.
you make a question to town council.
You can make a request to town council to do it. Staff can also comment to the chairman, and then, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I think
might
that's-
consider-
I think that's a smart
Yeah,
way to do it.
yeah.
I think coming from me, is just, you know, not from Ralph's door and stuff.
Yeah, well, we can do that, if that's the case, yeah, so I mean, is there they're the ones that should know if it needs to be updated.
And they don't have any business pending. Again, they'll meet it as an application for something for Harbor Area Review. And right now, there's nothing pending.
Right. There could be something that works shortly, but
Could be something that'll work shortly, could be,
it could be several months for them.
that's right. But then, and again, this is that sort of 6-month period to prep before the planning district commission shows up.
Okay.
And it puts us on a little more of a disciplined schedule. Not that this is undisciplined, but their time is precious to them, so I think they want to maximize their time with us.
Well, so you can make a request to the HARB for their input on the updating of the harbor.
Conceptual master plan, if I'm not, and design guidelines, if I'm not mistaken, that's the actual name of it.
What is it?
Harbor conceptual master plan and design guidelines.
Well, that's easy.
Any other input for the comp plan?
Can I raise a question about public input and what that looks like? Last time, if I'm not mistaken, and obviously there's comments at every planning commission meeting. But if I'm not mistaken, last time there were 3 public input meetings.
How many?
3.
And there's 2 of them have no attendance.
Two had nothing.
Nothing.
So that could be indicative of,
Do you see that trend changing?
or, that's right, or not.
I think.
How long ago was that?
13, 15, and 16.
So the 2 years.
So the 3 meetings, yeah.
So there's been a big difference in the town, right? In the last 2.
Yeah, it sure has been missed.
Yeah,
Is that made public to the business owners of the town?
I mean, you guys would know, some of you went through it the last time, but to the best of my knowledge, sectors like that aren't thought about, like the downtown people. Now, there's a Main Street, so there's a mechanism to sort of formally bring.
We had Andy Buckle, was part of that, he was the president, or the chairman of the Cape Charles Business Association during that. So, I mean, he provided, he kind of like,
Yeah, he gave us.
he gave us
Some very good reality checks. Yeah.
Right. Maybe it's just me, it's just my perception, there's no reality, or there's no hard facts to this, but it seems like the business folks on Main Street and in town are much more active than they were when we first arrived here, which was only 4 years ago, but still. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
I think depending on the issue, you're probably right.
We may
There are more of them.
Pardon?
There are more of them. It's
No,
a
definitely.
growing group.
Has the core group changed much? Business owners?
I would think
There's
that
been a lot of
I think there's a pretty robust participation.
So as we roll this out, we should probably, as a group of commissioners, plan on having much more input from the community.
I think we'll
Very
get,
reasonably.
I think we'll get more input. We tend to have a communications problem. Everybody has a communications problem. I mean, you can put something on the website and, and tell them that it's on the website. But,
Well, the hallmark of adult education is repetition, right? So, if we're going to, in my humble opinion, if we're going to expend a lot of time and energy, right, trying to deal with something that's going to have an effect on the community in which we live, we should probably try to get the involvement sooner than later. Is that right frame of
I
thinking?
think so. I mean, we ought to publicize now that, we're getting ready to start this process all over again, and that we would invite public comment.
If for no other reason, we could say, look, Mr. or Mrs., you insert the name, we've made it aware here, 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 and here, on this date, this date, this date, and that date. How would you like us better to communicate? Right? I think we ought to be proactive in the reaction, because what I see is a lot more reaction, and I'm only seeing it from afar, but what I see is a lot more reactive type of situations that we hear and work with than proactive, right? So I think we ought, as a group of commissioners, play some offense as opposed to defense. Just my opinion.
But again, thinking about this document, I think it has been largely accepted, and I've heard on this particular, I'm not talking about how other things work, but just this whole planning process. I think there's been very few people that said, oh, gee, I disagree with this, that, and the other thing. There were another 2 people outside this body that read it end to end and provided input with substantial comments and all, and we worked through those. But as long as the opportunities are there for the people to come and participate as we're there, they elect the people to town council that appoints us with the understanding that they have time to do this on a day-to-day basis. So if they're happy with trusting that, fine. We're not going to insist that they come and sit here, but don't come and complain that you didn't have the opportunity. That's the bottom line. And I think with this comprehensive plan, I don't think we had a lot of complaints and say, oh, well, gee, we didn't have anything to do that or that kind of thing. But if people are saying that or something, then by all means, we sort of try to force them to come. But otherwise, just to make sure that our ears are open and that we're capturing everything that maybe by way of something, a point of contention, that sort of thing, and then addressing the plan.
Is there any way, I'm sorry, is there any other way to participate in offering the thoughts besides physically showing up?
Your door's open.
Yeah.
His door's open 5 days.
Email
Email.
the town.
So we
Well,
can't-
Libby, in
so-
the past, I've read it, but now that I'm here, read it the record for historic. I get comments on historic, and if people are not, they send letters, I'll read them into the record. And if I get them in time, sometimes I can put them in the agenda packet if I get them in time.
So then the answer is yes, they can either show up here, show up in Larry's office, or show up electronically. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
just to make one more clarification here, we submitted, didn't we send a copy of our comp plan to the Virginia Planning Association or something? We got some feedback too, didn't we?
Yes.
And it was good,
Oh, good.
okay? So,
I'm looking forward to it.
so
I
it's,
may live to eat those words. I'm looking forward to it.
so,
Before AMPDC played such a key role in the evolution of this document, there was an awful lot of work done by the planning commission, a lot of work done by the planning commission.
This way.
yeah.
Yes, obviously different composition, but
Understood.
same body. With the AMPDC providing key services and skill sets, we spend more time giving direction and answering specific questions than actually getting down and dirty with the actual work. So that our role as a body has changed over time, but I think we have come up with a way, because we have such close contact with the community, we can come to a consensus on where we think the big issues should be paid attention to and how they should play into the document. And that really becomes the key role we play here, is making sure the document reflects what the community wants, regardless of what subset of the community may have issue. Okay?
And just one more quick question. Does transportation include parking?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Any other questions?
No, sir, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion?
My question is, when are we going to start this process?
What he said, April.
April?
April
Oh, I'm
next-
sorry, I did not.
April of next year. And
No,
then,
April next year.
and
Oh,
so
sorry for wasting
we're trying to,
everybody's time.
we're trying to set ourselves up for that. That's why,
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
can you, this isn't on the agenda, we have, so, well, let me just go here. Any other new business?
Well, let me just ask you, this is a follow-up to the last one. You asked then for the town to provide a specific update as far as what was accomplished or in the comp plan? I thought you had asked for something specific.
I asked for an update from where the comp plan ended
Right.
to where we are now.
Okay, so that's a specific action coming out of tonight's?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I like.
That's one.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, other business. Can we get an update on parking? Is VDOT,
Here's, because we just got finished with Labor Day weekend, the summer wrap-up will be delivered, because every year I've been doing the parking, so we've got that as well. Again, the preliminary numbers are, well, that'll be on the agenda for October 2nd. To get it all pulled together. Part of that is my wearing two hats. I only get so much done. So I apologize in advance.
no, I mean,
And the other thing is, September 24th, town staff is going to be doing an assessment from our respective departments of how the summer went. So there'll be input there on facilities upkeep, the beach, public works, public safety issues, facilities. Parking is obviously one of those. So I'll be talking about parking, at least at a number count, but what especially PD has to say about issues related to parking is something that I want to put in the report as well to make it a little bit more contextual than just the numbers. And of course, the numbers on Bay Avenue are through the roof this summer.
yeah.
A lot of people park, a lot of vehicles. We ticked over that 65 maximum vehicle from the gazebo, the pavilion north, a number of times, plenty of times. So there's a lot more vehicles at the beach. There's a lot more golf carts at the beach. And park in a variety of fashion, which actually enhance space, use of space than an 18-foot long painted parking space would. That's on the upside. Part of people coming in a golf carts as opposed to their SUVs is they're not pumping a lot of stock to the beach. So that speaks to people setting their stuff up in advance. Or we now have a service in town where people set up their umbrellas and things like that. So to an extent, the fewer vehicles there of a large space consuming type, actually better. But there are landside uses that go along with making it worthwhile for people to just drive their golf carts or walk to the beach. One way of saying, yeah, we're seeing a lot more on parking, and it'll be more contextual than it has been in the past. But the numbers are up, just the raw data numbers are up about 21%, and about 18% of the vehicles that are parked are in golf carts.
Didn't the town request clarification or permission from VDOT about front-end parking?
Front-end parking is, front-end parking is what's proposed for the Peach Street commercial improvement, that streetscape. It'll be interesting when they approve it.
They haven't approved it yet.
That's my understanding. Now, again, it has to be finally approved to be put off the bid, but the design is at 90%, and there's been comment from feedback back and forth, but none of it's been about the pull and angle parking. They've been okay with the pull and angle parking. There could be reasons for that justification. Remember, the justification on Mason Avenue was the speed limit and the number of vehicles. So a side street that's also at 25 miles an hour, but with fewer vehicles, may be perfect for pull and angle, but wouldn't be for Mason Avenue or Bay Avenue, might not be appropriate for pull and angle. There's reasons they approve pull and angle parking. Their preference is to not approve pull and angle parking, but they have to be conditions about that specific road that make pull and angle parking safe. Because VDOT's standard is, in a central business district, you do back and angle or you do parallel.
Okay, so I'll take issue with that, because I met with VDOT.
Who did you meet with?
I can give you a name.
Okay.
Up in the Akron. His approach was, Cape Charles proposed, we approved it.
Correct.
Okay, so
correct.
we can approve and propose to them front angle as well.
You can propose it, and then
That's correct, and they'll pass judgment.
That's
So
correct.
it came from us to begin with.
I know.
Okay.
Before that, we had asked for front-end angle parking and they disapproved it.
Okay.
And that's why, well, we have to fix this problem. And so it was like, okay, well, how about this rear end? And, oh, yeah, well, that's, I mean.
So, is the back end or front end angle, is it the angle that we have issue with, or is it the size of vehicles that we have issue with that are taking advantage of those, at this point, back end angled spaces?
Back and angle's got a number of things that are pros and cons.
Correct.
Especially where
I concur. I'm not kicking it to the curb. I'm just trying to figure out, because it's not working, in my humble opinion, well.
What it does for sure is it gives you more parking spaces than parallel.
Which we need.
Right. Now, so would pull and angle parking if it's the same degree. Because all you're doing is taking a strike 60 degrees this way and putting it this way.
Right.
The number of parking spaces downtown is basically set if you're going to do angle parking. Because if you reverse the angle, you're not getting more parking spaces unless you make it a more acute angle. You go from 60 degrees to 45 degrees. Then you're going to get more spaces. But right now, at 60 degrees, we've got what we've got.
Ours right now is 60 degrees.
It's 60 degrees. Yeah.
There's another thing to consider, and I'm sure VDOT has mentioned this too. When you do back an angle, when you get out, you've got full view of where you're going and what's coming. You don't have that view when you're back, you might point.
Not yet, not, it's,
Sorry?
you don't have to come out there. I mean, left, you don't, you have to edge yourself out there, hoping nobody's coming, and eventually, you can see. And the same thing at the intersection
Yeah.
of Strawberry Street.
But he's right. He's right. You're closer to that street back in than you are backing out because you can't see anything.
It's the same procedure.
But in answer to his question, sometimes I think the biggest issue are big trucks and large vehicles and trying to see and get yourself beyond and, you know,
And that's what I observed, right? You have a standard parking space, right? And when folks come to the beach, whether they rent them or that's what they travel in, you know, on a daily basis, you get an F-250 or some kind of 250 truck, and they have something on the back or a cab, and you get them angled parking in, and then you have a golf cart next to it. I think that there's a discussion that is equally as dangerous. It's just my opinion.
Well, I totally agree, because
I don't have an issue with the back and parking, right? I mean, I can do it.
It's all
I know a lot of
safe.
people that will ride around for 20 minutes until someone on the other side of the street opens up, so they can parallel park.
it's all about keeping things safe. You get these vehicles that are larger than average. And they play by the rules as we've outlined them so far. And you come down Mason, and all of a sudden you gotta do one of these things, just go straight, just to allow for that extra space being consumed.
Or the Cisco truck.
Whatever, absolutely, yes. Now, there are islands of free zones that, for lack of a better term, I'm sure there's an airport market. Loading zone. On Mason Avenue, just for vehicles like that. But are they all where they need to be?
No, I'm not here to cast stones. I'm
No, no,
I'm
no.
just asking questions because
Yep.
I think we have an opportunity somewhere. And maybe that's the best thing, I don't know.
Bill,
I just don't know.
do you want to reference the Main Street study that we did on the survey? On parking?
Yeah, well, that's right. We did do a survey with Main Street, and we sent it out, and, you know, it was the top issue was parking. And, I mean, it was a top issue.
Yeah, the reverse angle parking.
And reverse angle, everybody hated reverse angle. And, you know, we here as a planning commission received the information, I don't know, 6 months, maybe a year ago on reverse angle parking is not what it was touted to be. Okay, so when we first approved it, you know, that was from up in Vermont or whatever. New Hampshire. Okay. So, but, you know, happy tourists, you know, they come back. And, you know, so we.
And our request is to be a 12-month town, right?
That's absolutely, that's our goal. That's our goal.
And if a word too, that feeds into that walkability report. You know, one, I guess, problem I had with the report was it didn't seem to be tailored to the size of the town. And a lot of those recommendations had to do with towns where you didn't have 25 mile an hour throughout, where you had a fair amount of volume. And I know the thing I kept saying that we need, and they said you couldn't have it because Mason wasn't wide enough. The bicycle lane, if you see a solid line running along that's for bicycles, you assume there's a fair amount of bicycle traffic. And you hit the word right, safety. It's all about safety, that if you reverse angle park, you're not going to have nearly an accident. The data proved that, but if this is a small town now, we're not having any accidents, okay, but as things pick up and all like that, we'd like to prevent problems before they happen. So it's all in that spirit now, and so it needs, the walkability needs, you know, we don't necessarily need roundabouts and some of the things, the calming things, because we have the speed limit, thank goodness, and as long as they're not, you know, we're putting little signs out to try to remind people this, and that's all great. And so, you know, what do we need given context? That's what we need to consider, especially on this whole parking question, you know, as we move on to additional parking and this on the bay. It all comes into play.
It will be up there. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be up there.
I would be highly surprised.
We can bring accident data into this too now, what we got to run, because we have had accidents.
Yeah.
All right, so we can get now
And it
more
should be-
specific information.
the data from Tucson, that it was overwhelming, you know, there was, I don't know how many accidents on the regular parking and 0 on the reverse lane, but, you know, this isn't Tucson, you know, so that's the thing. You can't extrapolate from a big city like that.
All right.
Well, the walkability study also gave us the mini circles and the traffic circles, and I think the book on traffic circles can basically close the Cape Charles.
And
Not philosophically, we can all explain to the planning students why traffic circles make sense, but on our roads, they don't.
I will also mention that
This is not New Jersey.
the design committee for Main Street, one of their goals is a park, so.
Good.
So,
Comprehensive plan.
anything else on that? All right. Any announcements?
Mr. Chairman, the advertisement for the next town planner is already out and posted on the VNL website. It's on Indeed.com and a couple of other locations. It will run in the Post 1 week or 2? 1 week, so that'll probably be this Friday. The stated application close period is the 30th of September, as well as where people can get the application online and submit it online, or bring it into town hall, or put it in the mail, U.S. postage. My hope is to have someone up and going on board November 1.
Great.
Wow. That's fabulous.
Anything else on announcements?
Be nice if the chairman of the planning commission would serve on every board. Just saying.
You asked for it. You asked for it.
I can do that. I can do that.
And Ann Walker also has an outstanding I think that would be a fine committee. Myself, Tracy, who has to work with the planner, Jody Outland, who's our benefits HR person in the town hall, chairman of the planning commission, and chairwoman of the wetlands board. So it's primary group. So thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.